As Reverend Wickstrom suggests in Can UUs Believe Anything We Want? We can't. We do not and should not welcome some people into our sanctuaries. I can almost hear a gasp of disbelief. I almost feel it coming from my own heart. I hear rebuttals of, we welcome everyone, and people here believe very different things. In these two objections taken together, we find a major reason why UUs cannot believe anything. As Wickstrom implies, we would not welcome a member of the modern Nazi Party or a member of the Ku Klux Klan or the Westboro Baptist Church. Why not? Because they do not believe that people should be able to believe differently. They believe they possess the truth with a capital T. Their minds are closed, and in order to be a UU, we must have minds that hold beliefs lightly enough that when we meet with new evidence, we can change. My evolving beliefs provide an example. I began my journey as a Unitarian Universalist as an atheist and a humanist. Introduced to feminist spirituality, particularly the work of the pagans, I began to explore my own spiritual beliefs, which eventually led me to Buddhism and a meditation practice. I'm content with where I am, but I'm still learning. So another thing that UUs cannot believe is that revelation is sealed. That is, that religious truth was finalized sometime in the past. For conservative, fundamentalist, and Orthodox believers, this truth would be their respective scriptures read literally. Liberals read their holy books in light of new cultural and scientific understandings of reality. And we, of course, are a liberal tradition, although living tradition is a more apt descriptor. For us, revelation is ongoing. We believe that as long as human beings exist, we will keep learning new truths, which is why we're open to learning from each other and not proclaiming that our individual truth is the only truth or even the truth that we will believe one day. We value the wisdom of all scriptures and that of scientific and other scholarship. This understanding of truth acknowledges evolution. It also recognizes any human's inability to understand the whole of reality. Then, too, it emphasizes that we learn from one another, and our best understanding is communal. As vital as beloved community is to us, so is the individual. In our quest for truth, every voice counts. We believe that every living person or being is sacred and is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. And we honor the interdependent web of all existence. It seems to me, and to many others, that these two values make it impossible for us to believe in original sin or in any notion that reality is broken or evil. Instead, we believe in what Matthew Fox, the famous Catholic priest who was excommunicated for his views, called original blessing, and what the Buddha called Buddha nature, and what some call original goodness. Holding this view, we believe that even though individuals may become unskillful or harmful, they still deserve our forgiveness, care, and compassion. We must hold them accountable and do what we can to prevent them from behaving destructively, even as we continue to see that they came into this world as sacred beings. I would argue that accountability does not therefore mean punishment, which, as we commonly understand it, implies that individuals are bad or evil and must be hurt for the hurt they've inflicted. We now know that punishment doesn't really work. It tends to perpetuate harmful behavior. As one wise inmate at San Quentin Prison famously said, hurt people hurt people. And as another said, healed people heal people. Rehabilitation and restraint are more effective than punishment. Because of our belief in the sacredness of creation, we are called to eliminate harm and promote wellness, happiness, and freedom however we can. For us, salvation occurs in this world. We find it in helping others and ourselves to be the most loving and just beings we can. We believe that courageous love has the power to transform the world. In our efforts to realize our potential for love and justice, we save ourselves and others. We may believe that after we die, we'll go to heaven or be reborn or simply end, but we don't believe in hell. If we believe in God, we believe in an all-loving God who wouldn't send anyone to hell. Such a God would encourage us to love everyone as God loves them. Whatever we may believe about God or an afterlife, we stress the importance of what we do while we're alive. We are responsible for one another, which brings us to another belief we cannot hold as UUs. Because every living being is sacred, inherently worthy, no one individual is more important or valuable than another. We cannot, therefore, believe that white, heterosexual, rich, powerful men are better than a gay woman of color who lives in poverty with little influence. Indeed, we are called to end racism, sexism, heterosexism, and all discrimination that diminishes people's lives. Furthermore, we are called to discard the myth of individualism. The whole idea that one can pull oneself up by one's bootstraps sets up unrealistic and impossible expectations. Those who claim to have done so ignore their families, teachers, social groups, and all the others who help them succeed. They ignore the fundamental reality that we are thoroughly and intricately connected to everything else that exists or has existed, which means they may ignore the sanctity of the natural world as a source of life. Yet everything we do affects the web, and what happens in the web affects us. In helping others, we help ourselves. So there really is no me and no other. There's only us. Let me summarize what I've said so far about what UUs can't believe. We cannot believe that we possess the absolute unchanging truth. We cannot believe in the doctrine of original sin or in our inherent capacity for evil. We cannot believe that some people are better than others. We cannot believe in racism, sexism, heterosexism, ableism, ageism, or any ism that would elevate one group of people over another. We cannot believe that the individual is by nature separate and isolated from the web of interdependence. We cannot believe that life is all about preparation for the next one. We cannot believe that we have no responsibility for the welfare of this world. We cannot believe that we should punish harmful behavior. We cannot believe in a God that would punish people in hell for eternity. Those of us who believe in God reject most traditional ideas about God, the vertical theology that sees God as up above in the heaven, all-powerful, controlling what happens on earth, perfect and separate from a fallen creation, judging our every behavior to decide who will go to heaven or to hell. There may be many more things that you think UUs cannot believe, and you may not agree with some of what I've identified as beliefs we cannot hold. But if we find any, then UUs cannot believe just anything. On the other hand, maybe beliefs are not what are really important to us. We have always been non-creedal. Unlike other denominations, we don't require allegiance to any statement of beliefs. We have no creed, doctrines, or dogma. And what holds us together is our agreement about how we will be together and in the world. In the Eau Claire Church, most Sundays, as we did today, we recite this covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And for the denomination as a whole, there's this covenant from Article 2 of the UUA bylaws. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation and through our association, to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Both of these have a lot in common, that we will help and assist one another, serve the world, and be inspired by and practice love in our efforts to be of service. Clearly, these covenants are more about behavior than beliefs, about how we are to be and act more than about what we are to think. Reverend Wickstrom says our covenants are more about faith than belief, a faith in our capacity for love and in the power of love to transform the world. Beliefs or faith, it's a matter of semantics. It seems to me that the covenants imply our beliefs, for example, that every living being is valuable, that is capable of love, that we are interconnected and need one another to live fully, that we are called to serve one another in love, and that this love can transform us and all that we touch. The first covenant also indicates that we're a living tradition, so we are to seek the truth in love. Later on in Article 2 of the UUA bylaws, there's a similar pledge. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. In any case, I think I've made the case that UUs cannot believe anything. A great deal defines who we are and how we are different from other religious traditions. Mostly our openness to different beliefs sets us apart. One cannot believe that one possesses the only truth and be a UU. We are essentially lifelong seekers. We are the church of open hands, hearts, and minds. As Reverend Bill Sinkford commented, we are also known as the love people, those who show up at every social justice event wearing our yellow t-shirts stating that we side with love. Side with love, that says it all, doesn't it? To love is to respect and care for others no matter who they are, recognizing they are inherently worthy. But it's also to hold them accountable to love. When they reject or mistreat others, we set limits or boundaries to contain or prevent harm. We do not welcome harmful people into our sanctuaries. To love is also to be open to new possibilities. We may not have thought of something the way another does. We may not have done something the way another does. But we're open to considering new ideas and behaviors. To love is to be open to change and growth. To love is, of course, to care about the welfare of all that lives. Loving, we are called to do what we can to protect and preserve life. We will be out on the streets, protesting, picking up trash, planting trees, building or finding homes for the homeless, marching for mental health, making meals for Beacon House, helping out at Sojourner House, writing letters to members of Congress or the state legislature, planting a garden, washing dishes, or anything that is helpful rather than harmful. We will be doing what we can to nurture life against all that threatens it. And in the process, we will build meaningful lives. No matter what angle we come from, that of belief, faith, or love, UUs clearly cannot believe just anything. Paradoxically, our openness sets limits, excluding those who are not open. Our willingness to welcome people with differing beliefs excludes those who aren't welcoming, those who insist only their beliefs are true or are in other ways harmful. Yet, and here's another paradox, while we see that some people are not UUs and that they don't belong in our sanctuaries, we recognize that they are inherently worthy and do what we can to nurture them. In other words, it's really not easy being a UU. We cannot believe anything we want. We are bound by love, a high calling, one that requires we stay open to and respectful of differences and willing to hold others accountable for their failures to do so. We are called to foster love in the world. May we do our best to fulfill this high calling.